song. Raise your voice and shout, we're breaking down the walls. We're breaking free, yeah, we're breaking free. No oppression, it's out for liberty, breaking free. Yeah, we're taking a stand. Freedom's in our hearts, we're reclaiming our land. We're claiming our land.
I hate this show. Oh my goodness.
What's up, y'all? Thanks for joining us for another Friday night edition of Are You Smarter Than a Politician? It is the #1 rated game show at 8 p.m. on my feed, as always. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. We have great guests tonight. Let's jump right into it here. You can join us on YouTube or Rumble, especially if X keeps messing with us. You might want to follow us on there and make sure you can see us in future episodes. So joining us tonight is Joanna Jurgens. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this is our Freedom Fest reunion. So these are 3 friends that I just saw live at Freedom Fest. So I'm very excited to have them. Joanna is... she works for Freedom Fest, and that's where I met her, as well as does a lot in the music community. How are you tonight, Joanna?
Doing great. Having a good time here.
Yeah, introduce yourself to everybody.
Sure. So I do a lot of freelance in the Liberty world as well as the music world, and Freedom Fest is one of my regular clients. So I jump in and do different things every Freedom Fest. So always get to meet cool people like you guys. And then I also do a lot of music events, head down to South by Southwest every year and try and knock some sense into them there.
I'm jealous. South by Southwest is definitely a bucket list item for me. I got to do it sometime.
You've got to come next year.
I would love to. Next up is Thomas Quiter. He is the president.
Really? Do I have to correct you on your own show?
What did I say?
Thomas Daniel Queter, never a quitter, rarely quieter. Can you tell that I've run for office and had to correct the press? Queter. Yeah, I'll mess that up a couple more times. So it means too free, man. Too free.
Excellent. But Thomas, in addition to having an extremely hard to pronounce last name, is president of MIF Disabilities, a cannabis advocate, and an award-winning filmmaker now. Thomas, how are you tonight?
I'm fantastic. Still alive despite our healthcare system. And that's what the Mobility Independence Foundation is about. You can get all the healthcare in the hospital that you can get. But often you have to go home and use equipment. And I believe it was in 22 or 23, the studies were showing that 50% of all wheelchairs break down in a 6-month period. And the average wait time for repair is 5 months. And that's why I started this foundation. We're going after open hardware equipment. If you've seen me in my wheelchair in the last couple of years, that is our flagship design. I treat it like a 4-wheeler for 3 days in the Catskill Mountains before I have to charge it. Got to climb a 6-inch step. It makes things that are inaccessible to other wheelchairs accessible. Parking lots, lifts, you name it. And, what is freedom, right? It starts with being able to leave your own home.
Absolutely. Will it carry a vice presidential candidate in addition to yourself?
Absolutely. There was a video about that. Do you have it handy?
I don't have it handy. It's on my feed somewhere, but yeah. If you've seen it in my feed, Thomas was Spike Cohen was hitching a ride on the back with Thomas driving around, and what was he singing? Titanic or something? I forget what he was doing, but it's a funny video.
Well, it'll not only carry Spike Cohen, but it will tow Jim Cantrell's race car, and it will tow a tractor trailer.
And then tell us about the film. You just won an award at Freedom Fest, which we were talking about earlier. Tell us about the film. Tell us about the award.
So the award was for Best Libertarian Values. And that's because we are undercutting a relatively cruel sector of healthcare that's controlled by the government, of course. And we're doing that voluntarily with open hardware designs. So we see a problem, we have the solution, and we're doing it. Oftentimes, and I don't mean to chastise all the nice libertarians that are watching, but we can complain all day long. But if we don't actually solve the problem, what are we doing? And I'm a problem solver. So this issue affected me personally and my father. I was trapped in my home for 5 years over the lack of an adequate wheelchair through the systems. And my father gave up and died because he couldn't get to manage his farm. And I witnessed that slowly over a period of 6 years. So it's a problem that's solvable. It's solvable with off the rack technology and young engineers that are hot for doing this.
And a belated happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I just turned 42. The answer to everything, by the way. If you know your Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. No, I was diagnosed to die the first day of life, or that was my life expectancy, right? And the last life expectancy they gave me was actually 21 years old. And having turned 42, I have doubled that despite a couple thousand fractures. So I celebrate my birthday. In fact, you guys are one of only 2 things on my calendar this week. I took the whole week off.
I appreciate that. That's huge. If I was a nice guy, I would give you double points for doubling up the life expectancy, but I'm not. So you're just going to get treated like everybody else. So, but thank you for making time for us on your birthday week. Very cool.
Right
and
on.
last but not least is Mark Puls. He is a podcaster. What do you have, like 85 different shows, Mark? You're going to have to introduce yourself.
Yeah, you guys keep asking me to join stuff, and what am I going to say? No. So, I'm Mark. I hope my girlfriend's not listening. I'm a retarded polymath. So you come to me with any topic, and I'll talk and try to reach your level. And then, so that's it. So like yesterday, I had a 3-hour debate with a Zionist. Monday, we broke Jason and I from If by Whiskey. We have 2 podcasts. If by Whiskey is our collaboration. Jason and I drop the mass pod, y'all. And then my own Not Conscious, long story. You guys heard it all. We'll talk. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. This is going to be fun.
Happy birthday, Thomas.
And then Terry, you want to say hi? Our lovely producer, Terry Batts. Terry, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. It's great to have everybody here. Chat, I'm already loving you. Keep it busy and keep me busy. How's that? Let's keep me busy.
All
Not
right.
you, Free. The chat.
Well, I might break something. You never know. It's early on a Friday. We'll see. What else do we got here? Please share this out. Yeah, we're flying 16,000 views at this point. So this is exciting. Zach's keeping track in the chat if you want the up to date numbers. And yeah, so this is how it works. If you were to win, you would get the fictitious Ron Paul holding the Ron Paul trophy. Also on the prize shelf is the Ron Paul bobblehead and the Murray Rothbard bobblehead, Mike Johnson's signature cologne Swamp Ass, as well as the Ayn Rand Fountainhead teddy bear. And as always, the Lego Killdozer, because nobody talks about the Killdozer more than me, apparently. So
Dibs.
I'm wearing that cologne right now.
Are you? Swamp Ass? Nice. Yeah. I'm in South Florida, so that's the only cologne we have this time of year.
I may or may not be welding in my spare time.
The rules are, we were talking about that at Freedom Fest, making that into a Killdozer. That would be pretty cool. That was actually the deepest conversation I had for that day, I think. But
we definitely should A-team it for sure. Minimum.
Yeah. So the rules are, I am the government. Whatever I say goes. Scoring errors count. Life isn't fair. Suck it up, Buttercup. Nobody cares. The rules are, you can debate each other. You can veto someone else's answer. You can tear someone else's answer. And if you like somebody's answer and don't want to do the work, you can do the Democrat thing and redistribute their answer. Everybody starts off with negative 500 points because the government gets paid first. This is how scoring works. The chat controls the score. You can give or take up to 100 points from contestants. I know that'll get confusing because nobody follows that rule, but that's the way that Terry actually enters it in the scores. So we have to now say that after a scoring dispute at LP Florida Convention. So the chat's going to be controlling the score. So go ahead and enter points for whatever you like. If you like their answer, you don't like their answer, give or take points. All right, let's go to the chat real quick and say hi to some people. Whoa, lots of chat here. Kat reposted. Hey, Kat, welcome, Kilburn. Oh, that I'm not going to say welcome to you. You said hi to Terry. Okay, whatever. Mark said hi to himself, apparently. Hi, Mark. Chris is here. What's up, Chris? Love Terry's jacket. There we go. 100. Oh, I got 100 for starting on time. How about that? I'm right occasionally.
I assume my untaxed tobacco is allowed.
You can do whatever you want. I don't know. YouTube has rules, but who cares? Casey's here. Casey's driving across the country. If you don't know, Casey drove his whole family in an RV to Florida for the LPF convention so we could do the show live with Spike Cohen, Stephen DeCayla, and Matt Johnson, and it was an absolute blast. So thank you, Casey. Ian's here. What's up, Ian? 100 to Thomas for running better and faster than the government. The greatest meme of all time, 100%. Chris, the Freedom Coach, is here. Welcome, Chris. Zach's here. What's up, Zach? Ryan, minus 100 to Free for not knowing who TQ is. I know who he is. I just can't speak. But Casey's not here to, point out all of my failings, which that would have been one already tonight. There, right on time. Thank you, Casey. Kilburn, 500 Thomas for bringing down the vibe. There we go. You got points for it. Andy reposted. Thank you, Andy. 200 to TQ for being innovative. He is all of that and more. Lots of people. 200 Thomas for complaining about complainers complaining. Yeah, that's fair. Minus 200 to Thomas. No reason given. 500 to Mark for doing the show with his eyes closed. Yep, that's there'll be some of that. 100 to Terry for being more interesting than David. Mark gets 10,000, but it all goes to Mike. There's Zach from Legacy Right, one of my favorite shows. 100 to Terry and Joanne for being the purtiest. Yep, that's facts. All right. So let's get back into it. I'm going to put Terry in the back. She's running the chat and running the scores. Make her life hard back there, okay? Thanks, Terry. Wrong button and wrong button again. And there's the right button. There we go. Lightning round. Thomas, to you. Should disability benefits be handled locally, not federally?
That's an interesting question because in a way they already are. There is a federal mandate, but the states and therefore counties actually get to control who gets on and not on disability welfare. So when we talk about these benefits and who controls them, it's typically the people you have to deal with. I would say that the more local, the better. But personally, I would just prefer that we have a free economy with people keeping their money and let charity do what charity does.
Perfect. Joanna, to you. Should morality be left to the individual?
Yes. What else is morality but what you have going on inside of you, between you and your God or whatever is you believe is the higher power than you?
All right. Thank you. And Mark, to you. Should society run on contracts, not laws?
I am a voluntarist and an agorist and an anarchist, and I think that is a great way to do it. And I even think verbal contracts and handshakes should make a comeback.
Nice. All right. Thomas, to you. Should we end all foreign aid?
I mean, if we ended all foreign aid, how would we teach jungle tribes who've been washing their own junk for thousands of years how to wash their own junk? And come on. If we didn't keep giving Haiti rice, they might actually have a thriving rice farms being marketed again. Yeah, we should end all foreign aid. It's, I mean, maybe not at one swell cuff, but at least taper it back until it's gone. Let people recover and regain their own economies. Who the fuck it?
And then if we got rid of foreign aid, we could teach people to wash their junk on the L in Chicago, which is probably a better use of our money. That would, I'm just throwing that out there.
I mean, I live in New York, not New York City, but you might want to have these programs in all the major cities. I'm just saying, as someone who sits very low, I can tell you that enough people were wearing white pants and not washing themselves appropriately after using the bathroom that I can tell.
Oh boy. Oh boy. The time we got kicked off of YouTube is 8:17. There we go. All right. Joanna, to you. Should federal agencies lose funding if they overspend?
They probably shouldn't have the funding in the first place. They just shouldn't be able to. Like here's like the rest of us, like Americans have to live within the budget we have. We have our money. We're able to spend it. Just they don't get any more. Too bad.
Can I give Joanna 100 points?
Sure. I mean, it kind of defeats the purpose of you contesting her, but yeah, that's what our government would do. Our government would give points to the people that they're going against, and then sell weapons to both sides. And yeah, that's fair.
We were told before the show. We were told before the show that you were the government.
I am the government. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So
typical confusing government.
Yeah, we've never explained the rules, so that's part of the gag. Yeah, for sure. Mark, to you. Should all government budgets be voted on by the public?
There should be zero government budgets, period. How about that? So yeah, I mean, let us vote and we'll just say no. No, I don't think so, because that's a democracy. And what does Franklin talk about that? It's two wolves and a lamb. So no, I don't think they should be budgeted at all, but they certainly shouldn't be voted on, because that would really be disproportionate to the majority. Do
you think it'd be worse than what we have now?
It's all going to be worse, different kinds of worse, but yes, it could get worse, but it's different kinds, right? There's pros and cons. You just trade one thing for another.
Okay. Fair. I'm going to jump back into the comments here. We got a bunch more people. Green Man's here. What's up, Green Man? It's late there. Thanks for joining us.
He needs to clarify who those 100 points were for.
Green Man does?
Yeah, he said 100 points for getting kicked off of YouTube. I believe that was my answer.
Oh, yeah. He's got 100 for your beard strength. Does that count?
I was once voted most libertarian beard in New York State. So
there you go. Zach gave 200 to Thomas. Locals better. Kat 200 to TQ for local contacts. Chris 100 to Joanna for inclusivity. 300 to Joanna for the background echo. I didn't hear an echo. We did beard strength. 100 to everyone for understanding what the lightning round is. Yeah, we've had a lot of problems with the lightning round the last couple of weeks, so that's fair. Minus 200 for Mark for starting off with big words nobody knows in this chat, particularly. Kat 200 to Mark.
I said every label just so I could because I'm nobody's label. That's all. That's all.
All of them and none of them. Got it. 200 to Mark for knowing the contracts we can be verbal. 200 to Thomas for the beard, another beard one. 200 to Mark for the Jimi Hendrix poster. Minus 100 to Mark for claiming all the labels in answer one. See, that worked against you there. See, Mark, they're paying attention. Minus 100 to Terry for wearing the same shirt I'm wearing. One of us is going to have to change. Scientific. Coming out firing. Welcome.
Live. Change live for you forgot live.
Yep, 100 for getting kicked off YouTube, you rebels, you.
But to who?
100 to Joanna. 100 to Joanna for zero funding to federal agencies. 200 to Thomas for personal hygiene. Is that first? Were you the best personal hygiene in New York too, Thomas?
Well, I've been sitting down for 42 years. If I didn't have good personal hygiene, I'd be dead.
Yeah, that's fair. 200 to Joanna for the sweet glasses.
Another 500 for bringing down the vibe again. Jeez, man.
100 to Joanna for saying the Fed should stop getting fat stacks of cash. 500 to Mark for zero government budget at all. Different kinds of worse. 100 to Thomas for being charitable. in a chair, right? That's
I want to clarify to the gentleman criticizing my cigarette. This is tax-free tobacco, homegrown, organic. I cured and processed it myself.
all right. And with that little commercial for smoking for the kids out there, we'll go back to the game. All right, Thomas, to you. Should Congress have to vote before any military action?
Unless we're being attacked domestically, absolutely.
I agree. Joanna, to you. Should the military budget be cut in half?
Can I go more than half? So no, not in half, because it should be cut much more.
Love it. Absolutely. Mark, to you. Should the U.S. stop defending other countries?
100%. The U.S. should have nothing to do with other countries other than have healthy trading relationships, work, geopolitically in those realms.
All right. Thomas, to you. Should there be zero restrictions on gun ownership?
I live in New York State, and they have banned all the accessible weapons, so there should be absolutely no restrictions. The original Second Amendment applied to not only muskets, but cannon that you could load with silverware. And at that time, that was the prominent technology in weaponry. And if they can have it, we should have it too. This is weed, by the way, for the gentleman.
Oh, my God. Oh, I hope we're not being simulcast to any elementary schools tonight.
Hey, man, kids need to learn too.
All right. Joanna, to you. Should every adult be required to learn firearm safety?
No. If they want to, they should be able to. And kids can learn firearm safety if they're parents and they want to. But no, it should never be a requirement.
All right. Mark, to you. Should schools allow armed teachers?
God, it's like the worst question.
Oh, wait.
People who want
more.
to be armed, yes, absolutely. If someone wants to be an armed teacher, absolutely. You should be armed if you want to be or not. So, yes, but I don't think they should force teachers to be armed.
You think that's going to be the worst question? Boy.
No. I just, dude, you guys dropped me in this like 2 days ago. I'm not ready for this. Trust me.
Thanks for the endorsement. We're losing Thomas again. You coming back, Thomas?
Away? Where'd he go? Oh, there he goes.
You got Thomas so upset he walked off. He pulled his
somebody
diva
put me
move
up
and
to
just
roll.
left.
Stormed off. He
Somebody
literally
asked-
stormed off.
Somebody asked me to roll a joint. I'm going to roll a fucking joint.
Thomas is coming back with like a 6-foot bong next. Oh my God. All right, Thomas, you're back. Should the government stay out of healthcare entirely?
Absolutely. There are other countries that have no regulation on their healthcare, and they become healthcare tourist countries. And the reality there is that the price is lower and the quality is higher because they have to compete. Any industry, which healthcare is, needs competition. When you overregulate and set price caps, there's no competition. That's exactly why I started the Mobility Independence Foundation, to create competition in the durable medical equipment industry. If open hardware can compete, and it's going to.
All right, I was looking at the comments here, and we've got to jump to the comments here. All right, 250 to Joanna for cut more. Kat says -500 to Joanna for defunding the military. 1,000 to Thomas for getting ready to roll a fatty live. 500 to Thomas for the weed. 100 to Joanna for sounding like she's in a concert hall. We got another one there. 100 to Terry for being as lovely as ever. 100 to Joanna, half again, then buy half again and again. The military cuts. 100 to Thomas for sitting down less than Casey. Chris Thomas, my boy, 500 for the legal pot in a jar. Brandon's here. What's up, Brandon? 500 to Thomas for puff pass. 600 to Thomas for rolling a joint like a boss from Green Man. 500 from Kilburn if it uses at least 4 papers. Now we're like turning this into a stunt. 200 TQ for less government healthcare and overregulation to create competition. Andy's got 100 to Thomas for rolling a joint while rolling around. 400 to Thomas for being in a wheelchair.
Rolling.
Can I just point out? I also grew this cannabis, and my 2020 run for state senate, in which I broke the party record in this state, is why you can grow your own cannabis. They weren't going to have that. I sat down with every seated legislator I knew was going to still be there, and they were all Democrats. And I was like, the elderly and the disabled aren't going to be able to drive 1 to 3 hours to your dispensaries. Maybe you ought to let them grow it.
And Ryan's got 100 to Joanna for looking like Princess Leia. So, all right, we got through that. I'm not even sure what channels were still left on after all that, but probably one of them, my guess. While we're over 30,000 people, so a lot of people are going to report us apparently. So, all right,
let the canceling begin.
Joanna, to you, should the FDA be defunded?
Of course. Nobody even knows what they do other than put restrictions on people that aren't, or companies that aren't cronies, friends of the people in power. It's ridiculous, all the crap that they come out with.
All right.
Can I add to that? I mean, I know it's out of turn, but I mean, I did defy the FDA when I was 15 years old to receive a life-saving drug, and the FDA is famous for allowing equipment that they then recall 7 times because it's dangerous. Again, open hardware wouldn't have that problem.
All right. Mark, to you. Should patients be allowed to choose unapproved treatments?
100%. 100%. Not even a question. Please continue. It's so easy. Any of the stem cell research, some of these other things you're getting, they're miracles. And if you're willing to do that with your body, it's informed choice. Unlike the FDA, which doesn't give you informed choice, I'll take the informed choice and your own personal choice.
Somebody's bus has arrived. Is somebody waiting for a bus somewhere? Anybody hear that? Oh, right. All right.
For my foil hat that's underneath my toupee. It's a long story. Don't worry about it.
Long story. Yep. All right. Enter scores. All right. So we're going to go to the scoreboard here. Let me get rid of this. And I got to add it back in. All right. Did I do it? There we go.
Music.
Ooh, Joanna jumps out to an early lead, 1,200 points. She did that without any props that she grew in her own yard. So I'm very proud of you for that. Thomas just behind, lighting one up at 1,100 points. And then Mark trailing a little bit behind there at 300 points. So how do you think it's going so far, Thomas? What do you think?
It sounds like I got to knock Joanna down a peg.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Down to your level.
Yeah,
I wore my church sweats for this. For real.
I mean, my wheelchair can break legs. I'm just going to say.
And Joanna, you're in the lead. What do you think so far?
I think it sounds great. And that's even with defunding the military, which, by the way, I did not say we should totally defund the military, just that I thought it should be by more than half.
All right. Zach said cheers to you, 300 points. Kat, 200 to Joanna for defunding the FDA. 300 for defunding the FDA. Chris wants to know shaken or stirred on the martini, 100 points. What do you got? Shaken or stirred?
I replied in the chat, but it's shaken.
Shaken. All right.
My bitch shaker.
100 to TQ for mansplaining Joanna's question. There we go. 300 to Mark for personal choice. 200 to Mark for the tinfoil hat under the toupee. You should have added. 500 for medical autonomy and choice to Mark. 200 for Mark's eyes suffering from secondhand smoke. Yeah. Oh no, it's firsthand. Yeah. Joanna being sneaky quiet. And 200 to Joanna for taking the lead to the chat. Excellent. All right. Back to it. Thomas, to you. Should Medicare and Medicaid be phased out?
Phased out, absolutely. The problem with hard cutting these programs is that with nothing to replace them, people will die. And I don't believe in killing people, especially not just because they've been forced into dependency. However, if we, built a robust charitable system by, maybe getting rid of the income tax so that people had the money to do that with, we could replace them quite easily.
Yeah, I like how Larry Sharp talks about a phased sunsetting of those programs. So, don't just cut them day one, but sunset them out.
Right. So the problem with any hard change is that you have hard costs. And in terms of healthcare or welfare, that's going to be people's lives. And I do believe in not killing people.
That's a good thing to believe in.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page there. Joanna, to you. Should people be allowed to sell their organs?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's their body, right? They should be able to do what they want with it. I would be okay with some level. It would be a deeper discussion to have to make sure people aren't being taken advantage of. But if someone wants to be able to do that, they should.
So you're saying don't do it in a motel is what you're basically saying?
Yeah, basically. And not on the street corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Other things on the street corner are fine, by the way.
I have to jump in here.
Go for it.
If you have enough money, you too can barbecue one of my feet. They don't do me any good.
Oh boy.
I don't have that kind of money.
You already got 200 points for those on Twitter today. I mean, X. So let's not go there, Thomas.
You got points for feet picks?
Yeah, for barbecuing his feet, he got 100 points for each one because he has two, and I seconded that. He has two of them, so he got 200 points earlier.
Oh boy!
I think Terry can confirm.
Can we get in trouble for stuff that happened before the show? I'll have to check the rules on that. All right, Mark, to you. Should doctors be shielded from federal control?
Shielded? That's a backwards question. Should there be federal control on anything? No.
I promised you a worse question, didn't I? I promised. And I
they
delivered.
shouldn't be shielded. There shouldn't be federal control from which they should be shielded. How about that?
Okay. That's kind of what I was going for. Yeah, that's what.
You're welcome.
I'll accept your criticism on that.
I'm trying to be brief, man. You told me to be short. It's a lightning round still, right? So
still lightning round, correct. All right, Thomas, to you. Should public school funding follow the student?
That assumes that there should be public school. This is another situation where I wouldn't believe in just cutting off all public school right away, but I do believe there's a lot of room to allow better schooling. My ex-girlfriend's 10-year-old kid was teaching himself advanced robotics on YouTube. I think public school is getting phased out by society and the advancement of technology, and I say let it happen.
We got minus 100 to Mark for the short joke. TQ can hear you. Yeah, that was rude.
I always wanted to be a stand-up comedian, but
yeah, I didn't say I was racing midget cars or anything.
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, Joanna, to you.
Did I?
Should schools be required to teach economics?
Oh my God. Okay. So I'm against requiring anything, but I did lobby my kids' school hard to teach it. But that, again, personal choice, private school, and I was paying, so I was requesting that. So no, not required to as such, but parents should definitely have a say in the curriculum if they're sending their kids to school.
Are you wearing a debt clock?
I am.
Nice. I was looking at your eyes, I promise.
Debt batch. Hey, whatever I can do to bring attention to the national debt.
Like those numbers mean dollars and dollars mean nothing. We all know this.
All right, Mark, to you. Should school choice be guaranteed nationwide?
Yes, you should homeschool every child.
I should personally. I think
Not
that's a
you.
terrible idea.
One should homeschool their children. Yes.
That might be the worst idea in the history of the show, right there.
Free. This breaking news: free to homeschool every child.
I need to introduce you to my daughter.
That would be
And the
terrible.
ad, man, and the ad, and the Fed. You know how it is. Come on.
All right, Thomas, to you. Should raw milk be legal to sell in all states?
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up on raw milk. I grew up on a dairy farm. We dipped it out of the tank and we drank it.
All right. Joanna, to you. Should the USDA be abolished?
Hell to the yes! And I also, when there were all these rumors about Thomas Massey being made secretary, I was not for that because I did not want him. I didn't want him in that department that I thought needs to go away. So, yep, get rid of it.
All right.
Fun fact about the USDA. Most USDA inspectors will not eat the food that they inspect.
That's a really bad sign right there. Yep.
What do they
Mark.
eat?
Yep. So if you inspect chicken, you're much less likely to eat chicken because you know what that means, right? They're flying by so fast. They've got feces on them. This is what you hear from these inspectors when you talk to them. Their job is nothing. It's nothing.
All right, Mark, to you. Should Americans be allowed to grow food anywhere they want?
If they own the land, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Private right, private property.
Mr. Puff Puff Pass, to you. Should small farms be exempt from FDA regulations?
All farms should be exempt. The regulations mean nothing.
Okay. Joanna, to you. Should food trucks be allowed to operate anywhere?
Anywhere that the owner of the property is not, it doesn't want them. So property rights, right? So they can't just show up and be on my property, but yeah, they can be anywhere they want.
All right. Mark, to you. Should private citizens sell meat without government inspection?
Yes.
Yes, they should. I mean, it's simple. Come on. Everyone's known somebody who's been on a farm. People trade stuff all the time. Do it. Sell it.
Joanna's on to where I was going with this. Prime Act, absolutely. Yep.
Mark, if you're ever in upstate New York, I will make you roadkill tartare.
Yes, let's do it. Possum tartare.
It's
yeah.
venison. But
Even better. Love it. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the invitation.
I do it every year.
Our first potluck will be sensational on Are You Smarter Than a Politician? Yep. All right. Thomas, to you. Should government disability programs be privatized?
Why do we need a program?
Well, we have them now. What do we do next?
Phase them out as we grow charity by reducing the income tax. I mean, almost all of our problems can be solved charitably, and most of us would put towards solving our own problems. So just let us solve the problems. Get out of the way.
All right. Joanna, to you. Should disabled Americans control how their benefits are spent?
Their benefits.
Their government benefits.
Oh, government benefits. Yes, if there are already government benefits that they are owed, of course they should be able to control that. But as Thomas said, we really need to be able to move away from government benefits and work on private charities.
Excellent. Mark, to you. Should accessibility be addressed locally, not federally?
I think per Thomas's point, I'm probably a little bit out of my depth on the federal part, but everything should be locally out. So if there is a governance to be had, it should be subsidiarity, meaning it would be from the smallest level out. And I think these types of issues could be absolutely solved locally.
Can I tell a story about this?
Yes, you can. I hit the wrong button.
So I grew up in a tiny hamlet of a tiny town. We had a general store, the Mount Upton Market, when I was growing up. And at that time, if you were to put in a ramp, the ADA would require you to make everything. That means you had to redo the bathrooms, widen the aisles, take up your carpets, everything the ADA stipulated. And that would not be cost effective for small businesses. But the Mount Upton Market, ran by Leonard. Leonard saw me coming to the door to buy stuff every once in a while, saw me going by. And everybody knows what a dolly ramp is, right? It's for the trucks to bring the product from the truck that delivers into the store, usually very steep. What Leonard did was he got rid of this steep dolly ramp and built a more shallow dolly ramp. And when I came to the store, he put it down and I could go in. That's accessibility. That's how it should be run.
Now I want ham. So Andy has a good idea. We should rename the show to "Are You Higher Than a Politician?" Great idea, Andy. Yeah,
We still aren't. Just FYI.
Speak for yourself.
I think I
We
said this
still
one.
aren't, Thomas.
100
Trust
to Joanna
me,
for
we
being
still
from
aren't.
Texas. 100 to an A1, anyone who with 2 A's in their name. There we go. 300 to Joanna for selling organs. I don't think she's personally selling organs. Let's not start that rumor.
I reserve the right to, though.
Okay.
25,
okay.
25, 25. Who wants to give me 30, 35, 35, 35, 40, 45?
100 to Joanna for people being able to. 100 to TQ for phasing out Medicare and Medicaid and replacing it with something else smarter. 200 Thomas for phase out and replace. 300 to Mark for no federal control. 200 no federal control and good answer on an iffy. Come on, Kat. I screwed up like literally only like 2 of the 20 questions so far. So that's rude. Minus 100 Joanna for not giving someone an organ for not giving someone an organ into a double entendre. Oh my God. All right. 200 to Thomas, a lot of room for better schooling. Public schools suck. 200 to Joanna, debt clock pin. 500 for the debt clock pin, Joanna T. Massey. 100 to Mark for wanting to homeschool my children. He'd make a better band. He'd make a great band teacher. 500 to Mark for growing up on a dairy farm. 100 to Joanna for depressing me with the debt clock. 200 to Joanna for the hell to the yes. 100 to Thomas for having more obscure trivia than me. That's fair. 300 to Thomas, joint the mouth. 100 to TQ for grossing us all out. LOL. 420 to Thomas. That's fair. 300 to Mark, great movie posters on the wall. 100 to Mark for growing food anywhere. 100 to Joanna for property rights. 300 to Joanna, anywhere you want. Ryan says in El Paso, we have more taco trucks than food trucks. 100 to Joanna. 200 to Mark for trading farm food. 500 to Mark for being so chill. 200 to TQ for the charity. Patty's here. What's up? Welcome to the organized chaos. I am not an animal veterinarian. I don't know where we're going there. 200 Thomas for not looking at the camera while talking. Yeah, that's Casey's move. That is for sure Casey's move. You might owe him a royalty. 300 to Mark for using sign language. 200 to Mark for local out. Now I can see your comments, Joanna. LOL. 100 for holding up the YouTube side of the chat. 100 to Joanna for IF Gov Bernie's. 300 to Thomas for charity. All right. So we are at the score part here. So let's see here.
I think we all just lost to Joanna.
I need to refresh. Let me refresh. And yeah, Joanna, holding the 100-point lead, but this time it's to Mark. 2,200 over Mark with 2,100. Thomas has fallen back. Maybe needs to roll something or I don't know, toke something. I don't know what can help here.
I think it's fair. They're both prettier than I am.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. You're an award-winning filmmaker too. You know, you don't have to have the looks if you can.
You got
have
Riz,
casting
Thomas.
couch.
You got Riz. I ain't got no Riz.
I don't even know what that is.
See,
That
you got
sounds like
something you don't even know you got. That's how
That's-
amazing you are.
That sounds like
Think
some
about
heat
that.
shit, man.
All right. So back to it. Thomas, to you. Should misinformation be a protected form of speech?
Protected by who? So, should the government protect speech? Should the government offend speech, right? Our freedom of speech. The reality here is that we should all just have the freedom of speech, and we should all be thinking and correcting ourselves and each other constantly. Language and information and the spread of information is a lot like science in my mind. If you know anything about the scientific method, it states kind of that once you answer a question, you should automatically have more than one more question. And that tells us that nothing is ever completely settled, and that we should keep striving for learning more and thinking and understanding the world around us, how we work, how we interact, and how our speech works, and how that causes interaction. This is something I do quite frequently, actually, especially in politics. I like to watch the use of words, who uses them, how it changes through the decades and generations, and it's all used to keep us, fighting each other. But when you watch it and you learn it, it no longer affects you, and that allows you to explain things. And this is what I like to explain about politics and a lot of our pharmaceutical advertisements and our wheelchair advertisements even. It's all a 1990s Burger King commercial. And if you're old enough to remember a 1990s Burger King commercial, that burger looked huge and juicy and beautiful. The vegetables had color. The cheese was fit just perfectly. Every sesame seed was fit perfectly. The bun was nice and fluffy. And that's what made you salivate every time that commercial came on. But then you got to the other side of the drive-thru. What did you have? Not that. And that's why I call all of these things Burger King commercials. I didn't forget I was high. I function better when I'm high. What are you talking about? Can we penalize him for being on mute and speaking?
I didn't even know I hit mute. There we go. All right. I was just laughing, so I don't even know what I was doing. But all right, Joanna, to you. Should free speech be protected even when offensive?
What else is free speech for? Of course. Say whatever the hell you want.
Absolutely. Yeah. Here we go. Everybody's yep. Here we go. Yep. Love the pile on in the chat. I see it. I see you out there. I see you. I'll mute and tell you what I really think of your comments real quick. All right. Mark, to you. Should government-funded media be shut down?
100%. There should be zero funding of no state-funded media. It's all propaganda. It's all BS. What do you think's been happening? We've had super secret, double secret probation nuclear sites that we didn't bomb 2 weeks ago, 2 months ago, and now we bombed one 2 days ago. It's a whole mess. State anything. No. Nah.
I gotta jump back in the comments here. 200 Joanna for saying whatever the heck you want. Kat also says, good job, Thomas. Diatribe and salivating. Yeah, I got a little hungry. I'm not gonna lie. 200 Thomas for a good answer. Where did that one? 200 Thomas. All should have freedom of speech. 200 TQ for freedom of speech and scientific cues. Laugh out loud. 100 Thomas for not knowing what Riz is. Patty's Canadian. We never understand him. That's a fact. Big love for you. Right back at you, Patty. And 300 to Thomas for the Riz. So you got points for the Riz, Thomas. So I too know not what the Riz is. So
didn't get points for calling it out, but you guys points for having it. Sure, whatever.
Yeah, that's fair. Apparently Shirley's here. I don't see her comment, but hi Shirley. 200 to Mark for propaganda and zero funding of it. And we're caught up. Lots of Riz going on. Yep. Just going to drop a random Riz, even though I don't know what I'm talking about. Thomas, to you. Should biometric data collection be outlawed?
Collection by who? And is it voluntary? So should the collection of any data by anyone be outlawed? Probably not. Should the unwitting collection of any data be outlawed? Probably. I mean, but then how do you solve that in the court of law? So this is a situation of consent. If you're willingly giving Apple your data, I mean, you're probably dumb, and that's your choice. Your choice shouldn't be taken away. I choose to give my data in certain medical situations because my condition is rare, and the more data helps the community of doctors throughout the country learn more to treat others with my condition. That's a choice I make. So when we're talking about biometric data or any other data, the reality is, do you benefit and do you choose from giving any entity your data? That's the question. Are you consenting? Is the value retained to you? Did you get through this agreement without coercion?
All right. Joanna, to you. Should Americans be able to sue federal agencies for spying?
That's another one of those weird questions. Sue federal. The federal agencies. Okay, the federal agencies should not be, well, shouldn't exist. And of course they should not be spying, but I don't know that suing is the answer. Abolishing those agencies is the answer.
That's fair. I got a text message that I'm muted as well. All right. I think I'm unmuted. I think that was a few minutes ago, but all right. Mark, to you. Should citizens be allowed to surveil government instead?
That's a very interesting thing. There's allegedly a book that is the contrary to George Orwell, the 1984 book. And basically it is about that, about how we can look into the government as well as they can look. I don't think spying on anyone should be okay, really, because you should have privacy. So government shouldn't exist for you to spy on. That's probably the best answer.
Interesting. I did not know about the book, so that's a good one.
Yeah, it's interesting, and it kind of goes around IP rules because it's kind of using Orwell as the fixture of its reversal. And I forget what it's called. People could probably figure it out on chat, but it's really interesting, the concept. I haven't read it yet because I'm, I can't read so good.
Can we take points away from Mark for teasing us about this book that sounds really cool and not giving us the title?
Except if he made it up totally because he's high, then I give him points.
Okay, yeah, like this little thing on my shoulders talking to me about it. He's telling me how awesome this book is. It's like really good.
Is the book in the room with you now?
Hey, the calls are coming from inside the house. I don't know.
Oh, the book's talking.
I swear it's there. You guys in Google, in chat or whatever, please web search it. You guys are there. Trust me.
No one put it in the chat. I want this to not exist. I don't want this to exist. It's a better story. All right. Thomas, to you. Should immigration be simple for peaceful people?
Until proven not peaceful, yes. That'll be a problem because how do you track everybody in the world trying to come in? But the reality here is, where should the position of causing harm land? If we preemptively charge people with crimes, thinking they're criminals when they're not, well, we all know about the prison system. I don't have to make that argument. So when it comes to immigration, I'm more on the Ellis Island. Take a name, take all the data you can get legally, right? If they've got birth certificate or maybe a criminal record from the country of origin, and track them to some degree, not with a tracker, but where they plan to be, what they plan to do for a job, and for fuck's sake, don't force them onto welfare for 4 years before you allow them to work.
All right. Joanna, to you. Should immigrants have to pass a U.S. Constitution test?
I am an immigrant. I passed my test. I'm fine with the citizenship test. In fact, I do not mandate. I am not for mandating. I think if we're going to have schools teaching things, they should teach the basic Constitution, what it stands for, what the Bill of Rights is. But no, again, not mandatory. We shouldn't be forcing anything on anyone.
They should all have my 5th grade teacher, Mr. Mason.
I thought I was homeschooling everybody. Is that canceled?
Free, are you teaching it?
Yeah.
What's on your Constitution test?
That seems like a conflict of interest. Yeah. All right. Mark, to you. Should states set their own immigration policies?
No, private property should set their own immigration policies.
Okay.
I mean, we can go state out. It is states' rights constitutionally, yes, but I'm not really a statist in any way now. So no, thank you.
All right. Thomas, to you. Should all federal business licenses be abolished?
Yeah, the federal government should not have a license to be in business. Yeah, you should not need a license to do business. The only reason for licensing is to give them a reason to track you so that they can get their taxes, right? One way or another. They want the fees for filings. They want the taxes from the business, and they want to justify more government jobs. It's a jobs program to the biggest portion of it. So why do we need any of this bureaucracy? I'm not even sure we should have state licenses. There might be an argument per county that someone could make, but I can't think of one. No licenses.
Well done on the turnabout there with the government's license should be revoked, but I like that. So, all right, Joanna, to you. Should startups be exempt from taxes for their first 5 years?
No. First of all, we should all be exempt from taxes. But startups are no more special than anyone else. So same rules for everyone.
Thomas, we have a question from taxation and stuff. We have a question from the chat for you, Thomas. Should businesses be required to have handicap access?
If they want my money, literally, if they want my money, they'll be accessible. If they don't, they won't. I don't really believe in force. In my experience with the ADA, talking to people actually gets things done better and with less negative feelings. The last thing that a vulnerable community, those with disabilities, the only demographic any one of you can join at any minute, by the way, should we be forcing people? Really? No, probably not. I've been traveling the country for the last couple of years. I've been in a lot of hotels and buildings that meet ADA code and are not accessible. When I get the chance to talk to the managers, usually they want to do better, and if they're allowed, they say they go after it. But actually, when you codify accessibility, you limit the options. And when you limit the options, I mean, not every disability is the same. I think that accessibility should happen as a natural state of our society, advancing both technologically and in our healthcare. More people with disabilities are living and surviving throughout life. And as we age, more people are living with disability. And that is a market share, everybody, market share. If you want my money, you will have a ramp.
All right. Bonus points for taking a question from the chat. Mark, to you. Should home-based businesses...
Isn't it Joanna? Joanna's turn?
No, she had the exempt for 5 years.
Oh, got it.
Don't pull a Casey on me. Casey's not here.
I'm trying to help. I just heard Thomas.
It's not helpful if you mix up the order.
The audience
not mixing up the order is helpful.
It's okay.
I'm awful.
All right, Mark.
I shouldn't have
to you.
taken that 200. I should have stuck at 249 on the grams. I think I should have stuck there.
There you
That's
go.
probably where I should have stayed.
Should home-based businesses face zero regulations?
100%. Zero regulations. Nobody should have regulations. Regulations per Byland had a podcast with him. Genius, wrote plenty of books for Mises Institute. Regulations suffocate, strangle. They stop innovation. No good. Another no. You're giving me no-nos.
That's what you get with you and cap types.
I'm getting there. I'm still not there yet.
Yeah, give it time. Give it time. All right, Thomas, to you. Should artificial intelligence be completely unregulated?
Congress should absolutely be regulated. The artificial intelligence is kind of a wide berth here. I mean, we're approaching quantum computers. That might be a different story. Right now, artificial intelligence can barely draw a picture. But right now, I'm not concerned. When we get into quantum computing, I think there will be a need for guardrails that I would hope we wouldn't need a government to impose. I would hope that we can be smart enough to make the right choices ourselves. And I would hope if you're out there developing the latest AI, that which will make me Skynet, I appreciate you. But please be wise. I mean, we saw this with the atom bomb. Seemed like a good idea. Look what it did. Look what it does for tension. These advanced technologies can be scary because we're moving really fast. And I can see why people want regulation in terms of that. But I can't really justify the practice of regulation that deemed that I didn't need a wheelchair that wouldn't kill me, or that I didn't need a medication that would save my life. And so when you ask me these questions about regulation, I always ultimately have to land on no regulation. But I do want to point out that when we're talking about artificial intelligence as our computing capabilities skyrocket and other potentially dangerous technologies, we should self-regulate.
All right. Joanna, to you. Should online speech be treated the same as free speech?
Should speech be treated as speech? Yes, it's speech.
That was so quick I didn't even get the camera in the right spot, but yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, speech is speech.
That's fair. All right. Mark, to you. Should citizens own the data they generate online?
No one should own any data they generate online because there's no IP. You've given it out to the universe. However it's done, it's out there. So there really shouldn't be any problem to it. And I did find the book name. It's called Orwell's Revenge. Just so you know.
Did the voice tell you the name, or did you actually find the book?
I had to googs it because,
Okay.
well, I have a couple voice. Which voice are you talking about right now of the 13 that I'm having?
All right. On that note, get those scores into the chat, and let's check the comments real quick before
Can I
we
just
do
point
the
out that
scores.
Google steals your data?
Yeah, and you should own your own.
100%. They do, yeah. Robert Epstein. Look at Robert Epstein and what they do to even steer results too. They can steer elections up to 90% or something. People's opinions. They killed his wife in an accident, and then they killed other people accidentally, and then they all get suicided. It's craziness.
100 to Thomas for having the world's longest blink. Lots of points or so to me for I'm going to need it to go around like Santa Claus of Liberty. Yep. 200 to Thomas for self-choice. 100 to Thomas for riding in the kill chair. 100 to TQ for data choices and answering a Q with a Q. 200 to Mark for knowing a 1984 book. 300 to Mark for 1984. 100 to Joanna for abolishing federal agencies. Another 200 to Joanna. 1984 is also a movie. Good call there. 300 to Mark for having a great mic. Oh, Terry's going after the chat. She's all caught up. Yeah, make her life harder, everybody. I found the Shirley comment. Good morning to you, Shirley. Thanks for joining us from the UK. Mike's here. Welcome, Mike. 200 to Thomas for the F-bomb. There was only one F-bomb? It seemed like there was more. Minus 100 to Joanna for showing off. 300 for being an American citizen. 200 to Joanna for being an immigrant. 100 to Joanna for teaching the Constitution. I already did that. 200 to Thomas for no license. 300 to Joanna, same rules for everyone. 500 to Joanna. Joanna's answering her own questions in the chat, apparently. 500 to Thomas for the barn on top of the shelf. Was that?
It's my childhood toy.
Childhood toy.
Yeah, I lived on a farm and they gave me a barn to play with.
It seems appropriate, right? I guess. I don't know. 200 bonus to TQ for market share. 500 to Mark for zero regulations. 200 Thomas, minus 200 Thomas, AI can't draw a picture. 100 to TQ for knowing quantum computing. 200 for intelligent answer on self-regulation. 100 for Orwell's revenge. Oh, so now Kat's saying that you're not making this up. I choose not to believe you are Kat at this point. OB's got 200 to Joanna for saying yes for freedom of speech on a platform. All right.
How'd you figure that out so quickly? And I'm Cat Go Knowles.
Cat Go Knowles.
Oh, Cat Go Knowles. How'd you figure that out?
I don't know. Maybe she Googled it too. All right, let's go to the scoreboard. Let's see where we're at. Joanna still in the lead, 3,000 points. Mark is falling a little bit behind at 2,700, but Thomas is catching up at 2,500. The last segment here is going to be exciting. We've got some stress. We've got some anticipation going on here. Make sure you're scoring this all the way through. It's a tight one. All right. Back to it. Thomas, to you. Should parents have final say in all medical decisions for their kids?
So by law, yes, but parents should also involve their kids. When I was a child, I was involved in the conversations about the surgeries that were on my legs, and I was allowed to pursue finding a way around the FDA to receive a life-saving drug. So should they have the final say legally? Probably. Should they also discuss this with their children? Yeah.
Okay. Joanna, to you. Should CPS need a warrant to enter a home?
Yes, of course. But again, CPS probably shouldn't be entering the home. But yeah, if there is a really good reason, that's what warrants are for. That's what the system's for.
CPS, famous for stealing disabled children.
Facts. Mark, to you. Should custody be presumed 50-50 in divorce cases?
What the fuck, man? You did nail me because not married, no children. I think the two parents can figure it out, and I don't think we need someone interfering in their custody. To be completely honest, they're adults. Work it out. That'll teach the children that people who have disagreements can work things out. It'd be a good lesson. It would be very good to do that culturally, to make that culturally work.
Did Mark just assume that I was both married and have children?
I just said I wasn't. I didn't make any assumption about anyone else.
Did he just presume your marriage status? All right. Thomas, to you. Should every citizen be allowed to film public officials?
No. Every person should be allowed to film public officials.
All right. Joanna, to you. Should no one be detained without charges ever?
All right, I got to think through the double negatives here.
Yeah, that was
That's
terrible.
a trick question.
Another
Correct.
banger from
no
Free.
one should be detained without charges.
I had my laptop crooked when I wrote that. All right, go ahead and answer.
Am I being detained? Yes, no, you don't get to detain someone unless there is damn good reason. So correct.
Okay. I'll just throw that away. that should go in the bin. All right. Mark, to you. Now I'm scared of the next question. All right. Mark, should free assembly apply without permits? Yes, I wrote a good one.
That was beautiful, and
Thank you.
100% free assembly. 100% free assembly, peaceably assemble. Boom, done. That's an easy one. Softball.
I should stick to like 6 words or less. Is really
look. That was a great one. I could have said like, "Thou shalt not undo non-assembly," but if you unassembled the permits of assembling the permits, we could not have that happen.
Yeah. Luckily, Casey's way up in the chat, so I don't have to see what he thinks of like my wordsmithing here. So, all right. Let's see. Thomas, to you. Should curfews be unconstitutional?
I mean, if your parent gives you a curfew and your child, I don't know if that's unconstitutional. Should public curfews be unconstitutional? Well, we all know about laws. They're merely words on paper. And until the men with guns show up, they mean nothing. I would say that if any entity tried to put a mass curfew on a population of free American people, they should all just not follow it.
All right. Joanna, to you. Again, I'm scared of the question. Should all laws require a sunset clause?
Yeah, that's a good idea. But, sometimes something might seem like a good idea at the time and might be needed for a certain period. But yeah, it's a big part of the problem we have right now are laws that were put on the books and selectively enforced, only enforced when it benefits the right person. So yeah, it's a great idea to have a reasonable amount of time to reassess things.
All right.
I keep getting points for complicated or long answers. Thank you. But I'm going to go ahead and blame the way I talk on my 4 years of political training. Don't run for office, folks. It'll ruin you.
All right. Mark, to you. Should civil disobedience be fully legal?
Civil disobedience should happen regardless of legality or not. So going in, if you're going to be civilly disobedient, you know your consequences going in, whether you agree with them or not. So, for example, in Thomas Thoreau, is it Thoreau? Henry David Thoreau, sorry, civil disobedience. Be civilly disobedient, everybody. It's okay. You can do it.
Is that another book that you made up?
Yeah, it's another one I made up. Yeah.
So can I tell another story here?
Oh, sure.
At one point in California in the 60s or 70s, a group of severely disabled people took over and held a municipal building to get a law changed. And they did so without violence. They did so without running water or food. And they held it for multiple days, if not weeks. We need to learn how to protest again because the violent aspect of it doesn't help any cause. And it justifies the authoritarian reaction, which is always harmful. Peacefully assemble, yes. But don't let a bunch of disabled people show you up, folks.
All right, let's do a few comments here. Chris says, let's just defund Thiel. 200 to Kat for knowing the book. 500 to Mark for WTF and no interference. 200 to Joanna for refusing to get a better chair. We do have furniture comments sometimes.
Lumbar.
Made you aware of those. Yeah, lumbar. A little lumbar support. 200 to TQ for allowing to film public officials. 100 to Thomas for We the People. 100 to Joanna for knowing what a double negative is. And I knew what it was and I wrote it, so I should probably lose points. 300 to Mark for free assembly, 200 to Mark for peaceably assemble, 200 to Thomas for keeping the smoke in as long as he could. David's here. What's up, David? 100 to Thomas for having the largest empty pickle jar that has ever been on the show.
It is not empty. There is cannabis in it.
Still less words than my question. 100 to free. -1. Just a straight up -1 there. 100 to TQ for the complicated answer on public curfews. Mike's just says pot. There we go. 500 to Mark for knowing Thoreau. I think there's a cat and Mark conspiracy here where she pretends what he's talking about is actually real. So maybe
I think
cat's
I'm
a figment
feeling
of your
vibes. I'm
imagination.
feeling good vibes.
Yeah. Now we're trying to get Joanna a cushion. Can we get her a cushion? We need some like assistance or something.
She already has a cushion. She's winning by like 8,000 points. She's winning. She's got a cushion. She's cushioned just fine.
Ooh, Casey's got a good idea. I will say all laws that don't have 2/3 vote should have a sunset clause. That's pretty good. I should be scared free. Wow. Yeah. 300 to Thomas, peacefully assemble, no violence. And Joanna answered Kilburn. Yes, I do need a cushion. All right. So the cushion thing has been settled. We have solved Cushion Gate 2025, and we can go back to it.
I do happen to have an extra cushion right over there.
Is it in a pickle jar?
No, it's actually a wheelchair
Pickle
cushion.
cushion? Oh, okay. You would be a good source for cushions, I would say. Yeah. All right. Thomas Dew. Should peaceful protest override local ordinances?
Peaceful, yes. Absolutely.
I should have given you this question before the story.
Probably. But I mean, I ran for office in 2020. If you're not going to the protests, you're not seeing anybody in this state. So I went to those protests, and I was usually talking young socialists out of being socialist by talking about healthcare, voluntary contracts. But I was actually almost killed. Somebody decided to throw a picket sign. This person was very large, and that picket sign was a 2x4 and almost hit me in the head. So peaceful is very important, because in that particular instance, well, there were about to be fights, which my staff stopped, by the way. All of the sheriffs that were parked around the area of the protest, none of them got out of their cars, right? So you got to think to yourself, if you're going to be that way, there might not be anybody to stop it. And violence is never the answer. The non-aggression principle does count for certain things in certain situations, for sure. And I think person to person is always that situation. Don't hurt
Right. And if I ever learn how to edit these, I just want to make a note for myself to insert this question before Thomas's story. So that's just a little note for myself. This isn't live, right? All right. I do want to do a couple quick comments here. We got some bangers in here. Thoreau is for less government free. Yeah, I do know who Thoreau is. And that now people are just putting.
And you leave cat alone, free. Jeez, man.
Now we're just randomly putting words for weed in the chat. We got cushion here. Oh, there we go. Cushion. There we go. So Kilburn put the pieces together for us. Yeah, pickle cushion. Casey, not even on the show, lost 10,000 points. That's fair. Chris sells Lazy Boys in Woodland, Texas with lumbar. If anybody's interested and you're in the Woodlands area. Is that like a good commercial read? Maybe I'll get a sponsor or something. Lacey's here. Welcome, Lacey. She loves the questions and answers. Thank you, Lacey. Nobody liked the question so far other than Lacey, so I'll take that. 300 to Thomas, peaceful, very important. All right.
Too many of these questions don't leave room for there not being a law, right? We have to we're all doing this, right?
Yeah.
If we could understand your questions free, then we might be able to answer them better, by the way.
Well, I just like that we ran the test of, are these questions any better for stoned people? And the answer is obviously no. So we've learned that sober people don't like them and stoned people don't like them.
We need
we learned
absinthe
something.
questions. We need vodka questions, tequila questions. We're going to need a whole gamut.
Yeah, we're going to have to. We've had drunk questions before, so we do know that one. One of the contestants almost fell out of a chair one time. Yep. So we've had that. All right. Joanna, to you. Should protesters be allowed to wear masks?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to say that's a really difficult one. Definitely, people should be able to protest however they want, and of course, they should be able to dress however they want. So yes, peaceful protesters should be able to wear masks, and if you're not being peaceful, you should be out there protesting. So there is the key right there is peaceful protesters can wear whatever the F they want.
I'm protesting that nobody likes my question, so I'm
Next time I'm at a protest, I'm bringing a Bugs Bunny mask.
Okay. You should wear a killdozer mask.
That wouldn't be a mask.
All right. Another bad idea for me. All right. Let's see. Mark, to you. Should government only exist if people vote to renew it?
Ha 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 ha. You dumb bastard. Government shouldn't exist.
Well, I gave you an out here, though. That's like a legit out. I set you up for an out.
No, because democracy again, because it's going to be majority rules, and that disproportionately affects minorities. No.
See, I think I'm on to something here. Sunset the government. Or
yeah, you can
out.
sunset the government, but it should just lop it off. Just guillotine it. Let's do it. I know there's challenges with that, but we'll work it out. We're good people to each other. And we're all high, so we're good.
All right. We got the masks were not popular. 1,000 minus 1,000. This is gonna hurt. Minus 400, Joanna. You don't need a mask. 200 minus 200, Joanna, for yes to the mask. 200 TQ for peaceful protests. That hurt a little bit. We'll see what that does to the score. Thomas, to you. Should Americans be allowed to opt out of federal taxes?
So again, right, there shouldn't be federal taxes. This is why I talk so much with these questions. They lead into things. Absolutely, if we're to have federal taxes, you should be able to opt out. But you shouldn't have federal taxes. If the federal government wants a fucking GoFundMe, let them try it, see who donates.
By the way, these are not long answers. We have former contestants that are still answering questions from before Christmas. So these are not long answers. So
I watch you guys get scalding all these people, and I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to keep it short as much as possible.
Did you see Tubbs start yelling at the audience and see what happened there? That was a good one. He made our intro forever of his review of the show. All right, Joanna, to you. See if you can redeem yourself here. Should sales taxes replace income taxes entirely?
No taxes. But if I have to argue for income or sales, yes, I'll go with sales, but neither one. And I stand by my mask rule. People can dress however they want.
I'm actually with you on that, so you can take points from me too. All right. Mark, to you. Should tax money ever fund private corporations?
I'm sensing a theme here in that there shouldn't be any taxes, first of all. But if so, no. Simple. There should be that should be nothing at all toward corporations. There should be a complete separation of the two. No lobbies, none of that funding. APAC foreign, all the lobbyists. Don't forget all those that sweet Qatari cash flowing into DC.
Funding is often the leverage of the government to restrict or control an industry, sometimes take it over.
And that's even worse then. So that's not more ideal, in my opinion.
Well, they did it to healthcare.
Well, it's
They
socialism.
did. No,
really what it is.
it's all a mess. Yeah, I agree.
Socialism is control. The government wants to control people through subsidies and grants and employing people. That's why they employ so many people. They want socialism through control. So, all right.
I just got
Final
Kat's name, by the
score.
way. Is she a volunteer? Is she from Tennessee? Kat, no goal, no, or go Knowles. Is
Seminoles,
that the
Florida.
Seminoles.
Seminoles.
Oh, that's what it
FSU,
is.
baby,
I'm thinking
FSU.
I'm thinking, why do I get volunteers out of that? I'm an idiot. I told you, retarded polymath. Everybody, welcome. I'm just gonna cower in the corner.
They're my son's rival, the Florida's rival. So, all right.
The Gators.
So final scores, put them in now. Let's do a couple more comments while we're putting the final scores in. Andy's got -200 to Mark for Chinese cultural appropriation. We broke all the rules tonight.
Don't make me do the voice because I can.
500 to Thomas from Mike. 200 to TQ for no federal taxes. 200 to Thomas, no federal taxes. 1,000 to Mark for no taxes. 500 to Matt for who's Matt, but for connecting the dots, no taxes.
Seinfeld full. That's what I got, man. That's all I got.
Oh, here we go. Now the Florida State
Oh,
loves their,
gosh, you're
Joanna's
welcome,
added to it.
everybody. There you go. You're welcome. Go Knowles.
Let's see. So the government should start a company to build things. Let's see.
What?
I don't know.
First of all, the government already is a company. It's incorporated.
DC.
They can't do anything productive.
They don't produce anything, but they are incorporated.
I mean, the federal government is basically the Dilbert cartoon strip.
I was like trying to find that Casey comment, but I can't find it. But all right, so let's go. Let's check out the final scores here. See what happened here. And oh, wow. It came down to a barn burner here. And Thomas came away the winner. 3,300 points. This might be the closest one of all time. 200 points support, separating everybody here. Thomas, 3,300. Mark, 3,200. Joanna, 3,100. Thomas, you won a film festival and you won this tonight. How are you feeling on your birthday week?
Starting to feel like a winner. I'm still alive.
Hey, I'll take that, right?
Go to thepower2movefilm.com as the schedule builds up for showing of various film festivals and perhaps even theaters in your area. That information will go on to thepower2movefilm.com.
All right. Make sure you share that with us and we'll get it out to our audience for sure. So that's pretty cool. Mark, second place. How you feeling?
I feel great. I love that we're all within 200 points. This is perfect. This is perfect outcome. Thank you.
And Joanna,
Thanks for having me. By the way, this is awesome. Give it up for free for those great, awful questions and the good ones. And the good one.
The good one. There was at least one good one.
Thanks for having me, bro.
Like I said in the chat, I don't regret a thing. I'd love to
And I
have
also
that
agree with
more
Matt, by the
intense
way.
debate with people.
I agree with Mass, by the way, because as long as anonymity is good if it's peaceful, but if it's not peaceful, then anonymity,
Absolutely,
you
Mark.
lose the anonymity on it. So I'm totally fine with whatever.
Thank you.
Joanna. I wasn't going to say that
Joanna,
before because you lost all those points, so I wasn't going to jump on your bandwagon.
Fair enough.
You had the lead all night until the very end. How are you feeling?
You know what? I feel like Thomas Massey getting in trouble on principle. I'm good with that.
All right. Anything you want to promote? We had a great time at Freedom Fest. Such a blast. Looking forward to it next year. Do you know it's going to be in Vegas next year, right?
Las Vegas. It's going to be at Caesars Forum, I believe.
July 8th.
July 8th through 11th, right around there. But come on out if you're looking to sign up as media or an exhibitor. Let me know. I can help get you sorted, get you set up there. And I will probably be your liaison if you come as media, which is, how I met these good folks.
100%. And I'm looking forward to it. I won't miss it for sure. And Mark, anything you'd like to plug here?
Yeah, if I could. First of all, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. I do a little podcast called Knocked Conscious by myself. That's the one I do. I talk to a lot of different people. I also have this great collaboration with Drop the Mask Pod. Please follow him as well. We do If by Whiskey. We talk political stuff and all these other things, different concepts, philosophies, spiritual. We talk about it all. But before because of my amazing Freedom Fest experience this year, I was at the banquet at Freedom Fest and I bought the $1,000 VIP tickets to go see Ron Paul at his barbecue for his 90th birthday. So August 9th in Lake Jackson.
I'm still debating if I want to go for that $1,000 ticket.
Yeah, please come. We'll go. It'll be a blast. But basically, I'm all in. All my chips are in. I'm really interested. Please follow me and engage with me because I love to meet new people and get new ideas and share ideas with people. So thank you. Thank you again. I'm really grateful.
Excellent. Yeah, Ron Paul's 90th in Lake Jackson. That'll be exciting. August 9th. Sounds good. We got a few comments here before we go to Thomas. There's some funny ones. Thomas winning while high in a wheelchair.
Is there any other way?
And then Andy said, best weed Special Olympics show I've seen. Kat says it's good to debate. It's a lost art. Terry's got it right here. thepowertomovefilm.com. thepowertomovefilm.com. See what everybody was raving about at Freedom Fest at the film festival. That's one of the underrated things about Freedom Fest is people don't realize how great the film festival is. You know, they have all the talks. Ross Ulbricht was there. We had some great talks, but the film festival, I mean, there's like a dozen movies going on at all times. It's like crazy. So
I do have another funny story if you have a couple.
Go for it.
So the original title of the film was actually Power Moves. And about a week and a half before the festival, we learned that Shaquille O'Neal was releasing a documentary on Netflix called Power Moves. His is about shoes. And we didn't want to get buried in the algorithm, so we did a last-minute name change. But Shaquille O'Neal stole my documentary title. How about that?
Anything else you want to plug while I got you up here?
TheMIF.org. You can donate to the movement. We work with universities. We are putting open hardware concepts into the up-and-coming engineers of this country. We are sharing it as a concept of solving a problem when the government gets in the way. And by the end of the year, we should be releasing designs. So support our work. If you have skills, you want to volunteer, reach out. Thomas at themif.org. You can email me directly. I may send you to someone else depending on what you're volunteering. Now, thepowertomovefilm.com. This is more than just showing what we did. It not only shows that we were building a wheelchair on the floor of an expo hall in Houston last summer, and we were able to actually let people test drive it. Right? We built it there, and people test drove it there. Not only able to show how simple it is to do better, but it shows what it really means to myself and my family to solve this problem. And I think that's important. There's 5.5 million wheelchair users in this country, and that's just wheelchairs. So there's more to do after that. We can actually combat this situation of your taxes being taken and the value being given back at pennies to the dollar. This can get around expensive bureaucracy. And as a friend of mine, Jim Cantrell said, you're not going to be able to end a government program. You're not going to be able to change a government program for the better. But if you've been paying attention to the space industry, you can starve it of the oxygen of the room. And when it comes to equipment, we can do that. We can simply do better as a society by choice.
Excellent. Well, this was fun, guys. I want to just hit a couple things here and let's see. I don't know. I think I deleted the slide with me and Terry on it. I should add Terry back to the stage. What did you think, Terry?
I laughed so hard. I always have so much fun. You guys did a great job. I'm really proud of you guys. You were awesome. And yeah, I'll probably be in trouble at the end of the night, but that's all right. And chat, you know I love you guys. You did a great job. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you guys later.
Yeah, and we'll probably jump into a space after this if anybody's interested. And I didn't do it at the beginning, so let me do it at the end. If you want a cool shirt, I've got shirts on freedomsuperstore.com. You can get the Taxation is Theft. My other car is a Killdozer, Make Anarchy Great Again, or Satoshi for President. I am wearing the Make Anarchy Great Again right now. And that's how I funded doing some of these trips. So any help you can give us would be greatly appreciated. And thank you, everyone, for doing this. This was a lot of fun. And thank you to the chat for all you do. You made it hilarious. And we'll see you next time. Good night, y'all.